In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to fix FlutterFlow deployment errors. If you're running into issues while deploying your app, don't worry. A lot of these errors come from a few common causes, and once you know where to look, they're usually pretty manageable. In this walkthrough, I'll cover the most important areas to check so you can troubleshoot deployments more confidently. First, go to your Firebase console and open project settings, then users and permissions. Here, you need to make sure the FlutterFlow Firebase service account has the correct access. Specifically, it should have the Cloud Functions admin, editor, and service account user roles. If any of these permissions are missing, deployments can fail because FlutterFlow won't have enough access to create or manage the required services. So before doing anything more advanced, this is a great first thing to verify. Next, let's talk about function type mismatches. If you see an error related to callable functions, the problem may be that an existing Firebase function was originally deployed as one type, such as an HTTP function, and is now being redeployed as a callable function. Firebase does not always allow that type change cleanly over the existing function. In that case, you'll need to delete the old function in Firebase first, then redeploy it with the correct type from FlutterFlow. This is a very common issue when functions have been changed during development. Another area that often causes trouble is Firestore indexes. If Firestore throws an index error, that usually means your query needs a composite index that hasn't been created yet. A practical way to handle this is to create a test collection, apply the same filters or sorting you plan to use, and then go into FlutterFlow's Firebase settings to deploy the missing indexes. This helps ensure your queries will run properly both in testing and in production. Now, for Apple App Store deployment errors on iOS, pay close attention to your iOS-specific configuration. These errors are often related to signing, certificates, provisioning profiles, or missing setup details in the Apple developer environment. If your FlutterFlow project is correct, but the Apple side configuration is incomplete, the deployment can still fail. For Google Play Store deployment errors on Android, the same idea applies. These issues are often connected to signing configuration, package setup, or Play console requirements. If Android deployment fails, review those settings carefully and make sure everything matches what your app expects. Finally, for web deployment and test mode errors, check whether the issue is coming from Firebase configuration or environment restrictions. Test mode can sometimes introduce behavior that looks like a deployment issue when it's really a permissions or setup problem. If you work through each of these areas one by one, you'll solve most FlutterFlow deployment errors much faster.